The purpose of this video is to go over some of the things that Final Cut Pro can do in editing a video. I use it mainly to prepare the video side of our podcast. And this video, although not a podcast video, it's more of a tutorial video, can show many of the same things. I'm going to go in more depth and actually edit through an entire podcast video in the future. And you can see in sort of live time what happens. But in that video, there'll be fairly long periods of silence as I'm editing through the process. It could be perhaps as long as 45 or 60 minutes because of the process. That's about how long it takes me to edit one of these videos. But it'll be very detailed, comprehensive, and if I can do it as someone with no experience in this field, it can definitely be something that's learned and you can do it. But this video is going to serve more as an overview. You can see here that I have a completed video in Final Cut Pro, and it's already been published on YouTube, and then I will publish this on YouTube to kind of pair alongside it. So what I'm going to do is kind of give you an overview of what is here and what I did throughout the video to make edits and make things the way that they should be. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to create a library or an event. Now, there's no right way to do this, in my opinion. My preference is to create a library and then categorize underneath the library. So you can see here that I've created two libraries. This one is for our podcast, and then this one is for other videos like this video. And so you create a library. It's pretty easy. You just go up, click File, New Library, those sorts of things. Pretty simple. There's even a short code. It might be Command N. I can't remember what the short code is, but that can easily be found. And then what you want to do is you want to create an event. So you've got your library, and then you've got your event. Once you do that, this window will sort of populate. And when you create a new event, it'll be blank. I would consider the library sort of like how I've labeled it, a specific year or a specific season. And then I would consider the events specific podcast names or specific video names, as I've done here. Again, that's not the only way to do it. It's just the way that I prefer to do it in the way that makes sense for me. Then what you do is you're going to drag in all of your files to be saved in this event under this library. And so I've created some music effects through Logic Pro, and I've brought them in here. I've brought them in as .aif files. I believe other file types will work too. That's just the file type that is sort of default and has worked well for me. Any pictures or the main video needs to be in here as well. And this will be everything that you need, and you can just drag from here. I can click on any of these things and I can drag down into the main element wherever it is that I want to place it. You can see that you have this cursor here that is in red and converts to yellow. I'm going to drag it all the way to the left, indicating the beginning. And then I'm going to show you two short keys that I probably use most frequently in this process. First, to zoom in, you're just going to hold Command, and then you're going to hit the plus equals button, and that will expand what you're looking at. If you add the Shift key to that, it'll also expand it sort of vertically instead of just horizontally. So Command, Shift, and then the plus minus key, and you can see that it expands that direction as well. As you may predict, Command, Shift, minus key does the opposite, and then Command minus without the Shift does the opposite of the original instruction. Let's go back to Command plus and go to the beginning. And what I've done here is I've created an image. It's the same image that I'm using for the thumbnail of this video. And then I've created a music, a flute tune, if you will, to begin the video. I'm going to come back out, Command minus. I've taken the main video and I've brought it right to the end of the image. And the image I've set for, I think I did 10 seconds, 5 seconds, something like that. You can drag the video. Let me delete this transition and show you. If you come to the edge here, you can drag the image over. If you do that from the very beginning, it will overwrite some of the things that you've done and it'll trim up against that. So let me hit Command Z to undo what I've done there. And then let me show you one other thing that can happen if you're not careful. If you just hit like delete for a section, it'll delete not only the video, but it'll delete the audio that's underneath it. So again, Command Z. If you wanted to prevent that, you'd want to highlight both by holding Shift or Command and clicking on both. And you'd want to drag the audio out of the way. Then you could just delete the photo. Okay. Again, Command Z to get us back to where we were. I'm actually going to do Command Z again to bring back my transition. I like this transition. You can select transitions over on the right here. Click that button and there's a whole bunch of transitions you can use. I've used the gradient image. When you hover over one of these, you can see that it'll show you in the main screen there what it's going to look like. Kind of give you a test of what it might look like. Click that button again there and it'll take that away. You can also see here down in the audio files that there is a decibel range of what the audio will be played at. That same thing exists here for the video itself. And by default, it goes to 0 decibels. What I've done here at the transition point is I've taken and placed 2 markers and I've sort of faded down the audio so it cuts out from the video. And you can change that all you want. They're really easy to add. All you have to do is hover over the line and you get sort of this 4 arrow marker. You're going to hold Option, not Command, but Option, and you're just going to tap. And it's going to give you a placeholder. Then that placeholder you can manipulate however you want, and it will adjust accordingly. Again, I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that. If I don't want to impact from the left of this marker, I want that to be stable, I can just simply add another marker here. And then I'll only manipulate from the last marker that I made. So you can really fine tune. And later on in the video, we'll see how I did that with some sounds that I didn't want in the video. Now I'm back to my original document here. So I'm going to zoom back out. And you can see all across here a lot of different edits that I've made. So I'm going to put myself right here on the timeline and zoom in closer to one of those edits. And what you can see, same thing, just hitting Option and tapping that line. I did it 4 times, and then I brought the 2 middle ones down to eliminate a sound. So at this part of the video, what happens is I set down, I believe it's a comb, and it makes a noise on the desk that I don't want to exist. And so thankfully I wasn't speaking during this period of time, and so I was able to just eliminate the audio section of that to make the video come across as overall more professional. If you were to go watch this video, you'll see that there are a few sounds still in there. Unfortunately, I was speaking during that time, and it was difficult for me to figure out how to eliminate that without also eliminating the voice. There's probably a way to do that above my pay grade. And I also try not to edit too much, and I try not to be too much of a perfectionist, which is really hard for me to do, if I'm being honest, because a product out there or a video out there is better than no product out there, no video out there. And as a YouTube user myself, I understand that the vast majority of videos are serving a purpose and not expected to be at a movie star quality. Certainly, you want things to look professional, those sorts of things, but God didn't put me on this earth to be a video producer or a podcast editor. I can, and I can do that well, but He's put me on this earth to teach. And so, with videos like this and many others that you'll find on our channel, you'll find just that. You'll find me teaching, and hopefully you walk away with that being the emphasis, that the teaching was good, or the teaching was in depth. Even if you don't agree with the teaching specifically, it was in depth, and that my video editing skills aren't top notch, and that's okay. You're going to find some people out there that do a really good job, and that's what they do, and that's how God's blessed them. So if you are more inclined to this than perhaps I am, please, by all means, dive deeper. But don't forget, when you're creating these sorts of videos, that you're sharing what God has allowed you to share, what God has provided you the gift to utilize. I've always thought it's incredible that we're able to share a gift that's not even ours. The teaching that I share is no respect or no doing of me specifically. It's a gift from God, and specifically a gift through His Spirit. Isn't it amazing that I can utilize that to make videos like this? I can utilize this to be a teacher and actually earn an income. I'm literally earning an income from a gift that's not even mine. It's pretty incredible when you think about it in that light. I'm going to zoom back out. And you can see that all I've done, I don't need to zoom in on all these because it's the same process. All I've done is the same thing that I just showed you in that. I will go into an area here where it's kind of messy. There's a bunch of stuff going on, and show you specifically one cool thing. So if I wanted to cut something off that was really close to something I didn't want to cut off in terms of audio, by dragging this left and right, you can see that you can sort of cup around the audio and really mask what you want and what you don't want. And so by placement of these two, I forget what they call them, placeholders, markers, pinpoints, something like that, you can really dial in what audio you are taking away. This side here, there's a bunch of blank space. It didn't matter. I could have moved this over here, could have moved this over here, and on the final product, it wouldn't have made any difference. But over here, as you can see, when I move this to the left, there's some audio there that I cut out that I wanted to cut out. And here's some audio over here on the right that I didn't want to cut out. And so I kind of curved around that, so to speak. One other thing that I'll show you here, a couple other things actually, because you need to know how to split things up and those sorts of things. You click on any of these segments and then just place your cursor or your playback line, I think is what they call it. Hit Command B and it'll split it into two files at that line. Command Z to undo, because that's not what I want to do. That's a pretty basic thing. You can find a ton of videos that talk about just short codes and all those things. And I like to do that on the keyboard. A lot of times you can use the mouse to figure that out as well, but I operate more quickly with the short codes, and so I tend to steer towards those. Again, I've created a transition, and I've brought the music back up as we sort of exit out of the video. And then you could do the same thing with placeholders here to fade things out. In fact, I don't even need that one. I could delete, that's what they call it, a keyframe. I could delete that keyframe because I'm at the end of the video, and what you can do here is you can actually go all the way to the end as I've done, and you're trying to find those two arrows right there. You're going to click and hold, and you're going to bring that over, and that'll fade out to the end of the clip. I don't need to do that, obviously, because I should say I don't need to do that throughout the video, or I can't do that throughout the video because not every clip is at the end of a clip. Now, I could, let's say I wanted to, instead of putting a line right there, I wanted to do it here. I could split the video, and then I would have the ability, I should say, could split the audio file. Then I could drag this transition over. And there's probably people that do it that way, but it's just as easy for me to hold Option, click that line, and then do whatever I want with that specific aspect of the video there. So as you'll find as you get into this, again, Command Z is undo, Command Shift Z is a redo, if you didn't know that. But as you'll find as you dive in deeper to this, you're going to find multiple ways to do the same thing. And when you are exporting, and exporting as a MP4 or an MP3, your audience isn't going to hear a split in a clip. The way that Final Cut works is you can have all these different segments, and when you go over it, it's all blended together, so it sounds like one good professional thing. To export, if you didn't already know, right here there's a share button. Click that, and you can share this as specific presets. You can make your own custom presets, like clicking add a destination and make something specific. There's even some social things where you can change the aspect ratio to make it more of a square outcome that would be suitable for something like Instagram, or more of a longitudinal or a traditional vertical phone cut that would be more suitable for something like TikTok or something like that. I'll show you the audio and video because those are the two most common. Audio, you click there, and you have some presets or some defaults built in. This would be an MP3. You can just click next. It'll tell you how big the file is going to be. I don't need to do that here because I'm only publishing this to YouTube. I'm not putting this through my podcast platform. However, in the video that I referenced in the beginning, I will be doing this in more detail, working along with a very raw set of files. And at the end of that video, I will need an audio only, and so I can do that there. If you didn't need any video, you could do this in Logic Pro, which would probably make more sense. Excuse me. Apologize for that. You could do this in Logic Pro, and that would probably make more sense because you don't need all the bells and whistles of video. But I use Final Cut Pro the most. It's where I remember most of the short keys and those sorts of things. And I'm generally producing a video alongside audio, and so it makes most sense to be using this. For these down here, cancel that. For these down here, I did create these in Logic Pro, and then I imported them in. So Logic Pro is a fantastic program also, and it certainly has its place. Again, if I go back to share audio, it's going to be by default an MP3. If I want to change that, I can go to settings, and I can change the audio format to something else. And super easy, super easy. I'm going to cancel that, and when I want to do a video output, click on video. By default, it's going to be an MP4, but the same thing under settings. I can change it there. I can either change the format to specific social platforms, Apple devices, video, audio, all those things. to be really nuanced. I can even go up to 4K on some of these things. I want to say if I go to Apple devices, I can go up to 4K. Maybe that's not it. Video and audio. There's one of these that you can do 4K. I forget which one it is. I didn't do 4K because this is already a 2 gig file. If you do 4K, I want to say this would probably be like a 10 to 15 gig file. It's becomes pretty massive. And in my opinion, it really doesn't make that big of a difference in terms of a YouTube video. Now, most of these people are going to be watching these videos on their phones, but you know, if your audience typically watches this on a big screen and your gift from the Lord is more that audio video quality, you might want to invest in an external hard drive or a bigger computer that can handle those large files, and then go that route and then produce 4K. It certainly is an option. I don't recall where it is because I literally never use it, but there is an option for 4K there. Then you click next and it'd start processing the file. You'll notice up here where this purple check mark is, that just indicates that everything's done. You'll notice when you click next and produce a file, video or audio, it'll turn into a circle, sort of like a progress bar, but in a circle format. And when that's done, you'll get a notification that it's done, and it'll be saved wherever you've selected for it to be saved with all your other files. I hope that you found this video helpful for whatever it is you're working on project-wise. And it's an entertaining process to learn and figure out how to do. Again, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And again, I hope this was a benefit to you. And may the Lord bless you on this day.